Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another goal check-in video. At the end of the year, my goal check-in videos look a little bit different than they do throughout the year. Things have to kind of shift around, but for the next 4 days, if you're watching this video on the day it goes live, you are gonna get a goal check-in video from me where I am going to share my current goals and how I've kind of wrapped them up. We'll start with Q4 and December. Then we will move into 2024 at a glance and how I feel about my overarching 2024 personal goals. Then we will talk about 2025 goals. And lastly, kick it off with Q1 and January steps. But I am getting very much ahead of myself. This video is just a check-in with my no goals December and then my Q4 business goals. If this is the first time you're watching one of my goals videos, hi, welcome, I'm Laken. And I am here on a mission to help you achieve your personal goals. And part of that is sharing my own personal goal journey with you. And this year, I did things a little bit different. Instead of setting personal goals in December, I decided to make Q4 just October and November. And then December was no goals December. And to jump the gun a little bit, I am so glad that I did. But I want to make sure that you know that if you want my quarterly personal goal recap, I actually did that at the beginning of the month because I treated Q4 just as October and November. I will also tell you before we get into the nitty gritty that I have decided next year, instead of Q4 being my shortened quarter, I am going to shorten Q2. Wow, I really am getting ahead. Let's talk about that in a different video. Let's start with no goals December. I decided I was not going to set any new personal goals in December. It doesn't mean that I wasn't going to still be doing some of the habits that I had instilled or thinking about some things, but I was not going to have a goal tracker and I was not going to pick any new additional action steps. And first off, I need to start by saying that I am so glad that I finally did this. I feel like I had been talking about doing this for years. I feel like every year I filmed my December goals video and said, Laken, why are you doing this? Why are you setting goals in December? And every year I said, next year. And this was the year I finally did it. And I'm so thankful because there are some days that I still feel like I'm keeping my head above water. I couldn't imagine having more on top of what I already have going on. Between work being the busiest time, between Vlogmas and the goal setting workshops. We also bought a house this month. And so there's just so much going on, and the holidays, celebrating and prepping and buying and wrapping and shipping and all the things. Like I'm just so glad that I did this, and I will for sure be continuing it in the future. So now let's go through the specific things that I talked about. I made a video at the beginning of the month saying these are the things I'm still focusing on, or the things that are still going to take up my time, even though I'm doing no goals December. So the first one on the list was buying a house. And while at the beginning of December, that didn't have a ton of a time commitment because we were kind of in that lull where our loan had already been approved, so they didn't need anything else from us, but we hadn't closed yet, so it was kind of slow. That immediately changed. And then it was like final walkthrough, close, and this morning, the day after the close, I literally spent 3 hours at the new house meeting with contractors. So this one was hard because I could not anticipate how much time commitment it was going to be. But I knew it would still be a big piece of the month and a big mental piece of the month that I knew that we couldn't have any additional goals, and I'm glad that I did that. I also foresee now that we have closed on the house, this taking up a lot of my time and mental space for the rest of the month. The day I'm filming this video, by the way, probably would have been beneficial to say that at the beginning. It's December 17th. So it's early, we're still only in the middle of December, but with the way the holidays are shaking out and the day that these videos are going live, this is just when it has to get filmed. And so I still feel very confident commenting on no goals December and my Q4 business goals, even though we're only about halfway through December. So buying a house is one of those steps that I think is still going to take up a lot of time the second half of the month. The next one was December daily, and that one is not taking up as much time as I anticipated because I'm only on day 8 or 9 as of the day we're talking. And so in the spirit of December daily, I am behind. In years past where I've done every single day on the day, I'm behind, but I'm okay with that. It's still, I'm utilizing it as a break. I'm utilizing it as a way to rest. And when my goal is to take next week off from work, I feel like I will really truly be able to play catch up on December daily and actually accomplish it and not be starting on day 1. Now, I have contemplated in future years, and I may try this next year, we'll see, that I actually don't do any of December daily during December, and I actually don't worry about it until that week that I'm off, and I do play catch up that entire week. I've thought about it. It's possible, we'll see. I'm gonna see how this year finishes up and then I'll make a decision. But as expected, this is still a time-consuming thing, and the times that I, like Lila's down for her nap and I have a couple hours to myself and I pull out December daily and I work on that, that's when I would have been working on goals. So I'm glad that I don't have anything additional. That's kind of the summary, right? I'm going through these things that are taking up a lot of my time and am thankful that I didn't have additional goals that were conflicting for that time. The next one on the list was to enjoy the holidays. This one has been up and down. We've done some fun holiday things, don't get me wrong. If you've watched Vlogmas, if you've been watching all along, I've shared a lot of those with you. Do I feel like I've always enjoyed them? There's just a lot going on. And so I think sometimes I feel a little bit overwhelmed in the moment. And so, but that just might be the like phase of life that I'm in. At the end of the day, I have had the time to do those things that we have done, and I'm thankful for that. Okay, the next one was working out. And so even though I didn't have a goal tracker, I still wanted to do this. And it started off really strong. Week 1 of December, I worked out 4 times. I was like, I got this, I'm gonna carry this through, it's gonna be good. And then I wasn't feeling 100%, so I kind of was like, I'm gonna take a little bit of break. And then it was that time of the month, and so then I just like kept taking a break. And now since that first week that I did 4, I think I worked out 1 time. It is what it is, and you know what? There's still a lot. I'm still moving a lot. I'm walking around, walking to and from daycare now that my daughter's in daycare, and it's just a lot. So I'm okay with it. I think we'll see. We'll see what that looks like in the future. Do I think that having it on a checklist, like if I had my goal sheet, if it would have helped, maybe it would have helped a little bit. But truthfully, I may have still made the same decision. That was like, it's not a priority, and I'm gonna let that go. And I think I said that in that December goals video where I was like, it's just not the priority, right? The priorities are gonna be getting the Vlogmas video up, all the work I need to do, any house stuff, December daily, and then working out. So if working out if I get there, awesome, but if I don't, I don't. I also could have sacrificed sleep for this particular goal and decided that sleep was more important. And then the last kind of goal, the thing that I was still focused on in No Goals December was some daily habits. Just carrying over my daily habits from November. And once again, not tracking them on a goal sheet, but just using an app on my phone called Habits. And truthfully, I said I very much narrowed it down, and I only had 2 on there. I had my water goal and my PM routine. And they came out to about the same as they were in November. Like, I didn't improve on them, but I also didn't fall back on them. And that, you know what? That feels good to me. I'm good with that. So all in all, again, really positive outcome. Still a fantastic month in the grand scheme of things, and something I will definitely be doing again next year. Okay, like I mentioned, I already talked about my Q4 personal goals at the end of November. So now we are gonna talk about my Q4 business goals. So even though my personal goals stopped at the end of November, I carried my business goals through the entirety of Q4. So let's talk about what that looks like. So the first one was my revenue goal, and I'm not gonna share numbers here, I'm not gonna share my tracker, but I did love again, and we'll carry this into 2025, my quarterly business tracker where I got to check things off as I was hitting my goals, and I loved that. So for my revenue goal, as of today, December 17th, I'm at 77%. I'm probably not gonna get to 100. I decided also this quarter, I'm sure I talked about this in like where I talked about these goals. I feel like I am a little bit all over the place today. Usually my goals videos feel a little bit more centered. So typically for my business goals, I don't share a monthly update with you. I just share them on the quarter, but I will share what the upcoming goals are. So all these quarterly goals I'm talking about at the beginning of the quarter, so at the beginning of October, I shared like, these are my quarterly business goals. I, again, didn't share numbers, but I shared what my focuses were. I'm assuming in that video, I talked that I wasn't gonna do good, better, best numbers this quarter. I was just gonna pick numbers. And truthfully for my brain, I think that's better. I think good, better, best has a place. I think when you're talking about habits and energy and some other goals, I think good, better, best can definitely be helpful. But for me, for my business goals, I think good, better, best just allows me more opportunity to be lazy. Maybe that's not the right phrasing, but like just more opportunity to be like, well, as long as I hit my good goal, and it's like, So I would say that these goals that I set for this quarter were probably in that middle. They were probably that better. And so, you know what, 77% feels good. And it probably is closer to that if I'd set the good goal. But I think that by setting just one goal, I think I probably pushed myself a little bit more in some of these areas. So 77% for revenue. We'll see what we end up at the actual end of the quarter. The next one, this is also real quick aside on revenue. My husband and I have conversations about this all the time. What do you count between what comes in the door and what actually hits your bank account? So when I say I'm at 77%, that is revenue that has hit my bank account. So I still have a couple things that will come in at the end of December, but the majority of my business is run through a program called Teachable. So you sign up for the community, you do the goal workshops, you buy the planner, those are all on Teachable. Any of those sales that come in the next 2 weeks, that's not hitting my bank account until January. So to me, that's not a Q4 revenue. Anything that's in Teachable, that's already happened. And so it's like always at a month lag. And my husband's business is the same way, right? Like it hits he calls it a ledger. I don't know if that's what the company calls it, but like my husband is my financial planner, if you didn't know. So when he has income and it hits his ledger, he counts that. And so he will like look at that number and like he keeps coming in this month. Like, I'm at this for the year, I'm at this for the year. It doesn't hit his bank account until the first week of the month. In my mind, this year's done. What hit his bank account at the beginning of December is done. That's just how we look at it differently. That's just how I view revenue. So like I said, there's still things coming in, but it's not the same as like certain things. Sales won't count towards that. Okay. Anyway, the next business goal for Q4 was Vlogmas, and this one has obviously gone well. If you are watching this video on December 22nd, we are almost there. But once I get these videos filmed, I have a couple more vlogs, but my amazing editor and I are powering through, and we're gonna do it, 25 videos in 25 days. And we had like one technical snafu one day where the video went up, I think at like 2 p.m. You know what? It's fine. The rest of them have all gone up in the morning. And that feels good to me. I feel really good about that. My next quarterly goal was a podcast. If you didn't know, I have a podcast with my sister. It's not about business or goals at all. It's literally just me and my little sister chatting about life. We're 9 years apart, and so there's some fun dynamics there as well. This one went okay. The reason I put the podcast as its own separate goal is because even though it is a hobby, I really do want to treat the podcast seriously. And part of that is making sure that everything is prepped and ready to go on time. And again, even though it's a hobby, I want it to not be. And so I put little dots on the tracker for every episode that we had planned to do in Q4. And as long as I got my stuff done on time and the podcast went up on time, I got the check mark. This probably only happened about 50% of the time. And that just is what it was. I'm gonna aim for it to be better in Q1. And then we actually ended up taking a break for December, which has been amazing. And we'll see, that may have to be the scenario next year too, TBD. I mean, who knows what 2025 is going to entail. I can only predict so much about next year. But for now, I'm very thankful to have those couple of hours between recording and editing and all the back end work back in my life this month. But it's really because we're rebranding and we're moving. Podcast headquarters is moving to the new house. So anyways, glad that I made that a goal 50% of the time. All right. And the next business goal was the Goals with Laken community and a set number of new members that I wanted to get this quarter. And I hit that 100%. I'm actually a couple above that. So I didn't actually calculate it out, 100+%. So that feels really, really good. The next one was the goal prep workshops. And this one, as of today, December 17th, is at about 75%. But going back to the little aside I had on revenue, to me, that's it. Like, we're done. I mean, more sales could come in the next couple of weeks, but since those aren't gonna hit my bank account until January, to me, those are January sales. You could totally look at it the other way, the way that my husband does, and then maybe I would hit more than 75%, but all in all, that feels good. And it kind of makes sense that like that's at 75 and then revenue's at 77 and the community's at 100, like that math kind of maths. And then the last goal was a task block goal. And this, setting this as a goal has changed so much for me in my business. I'm so glad that I started doing this. I can't remember if that was Q2 or Q3, but it is so helpful and I'm so glad that I did it. And I'm gonna hit 100% this week as long as I continue. Unless something blows up in the next 2 days, I'm gonna hit the goal that I set, and that feels so good. Did I get quite all the projects done that I wanted to get done this month? No, but I still got a lot of it done, and I really felt like I put in the work. So all in all, a really great quarter from a business standpoint, and I'm very thankful for that. So that is it for this video. That is the final detailed video on my 2024 goals. I will have one more video for you that's more of a summary. Here is 2024 at a glance coming tomorrow, so make sure you are subscribed. If you watch this video, Should we do emojis on this video? Yes, let's pick an emoji. If you watched all the way to the end, comment below with the like old school camcorder emoji. That's what I typically use when I'm talking about videos, is like this old school camcorder. And that is to represent Vlogmas. And we're almost there. And I mean, Vlogmas, I'm not gonna talk detail about Vlogmas in the rest of these Vlogmas videos, so I'm gonna do it here. Thank you so, so much. If you also wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Why did I just flow from like one sentence to another? I don't know. Okay. Am I good, better, best? Am I good, better, best?